Hi everyone and welcome back. Finally, the Dwarf III Smart Telescope is available for pre-orders at an amazing price of $499 and even better, we have a discount of $50. So if you'll order now, you'll be able to get it for $49. By the way, tomorrow I have to pay the dentist. So please consider using the affiliate links in the video description if you decide to buy a Dwarf 3 and you find this video useful. If you haven't tried any smart telescope before, it's hard to find anything better at this price currently on the market. If you already have a Dwarf 2, the question is, should I upgrade to the new Dwarf or not? Well, stay until the end and you'll find the answer in this video while we are looking at all the new features. We have here the new hardware features, better optical performance. Now the Dwarf 3 compared with the Dwarf 2 has new optical system with multiple glass elements that makes the new Dwarf 3 an apochromatic telescope that will give us better astrophotography images with less chromatic aberrations or distortions. And we have also larger aperture, 30 mm instead of 24. This will help the Dwarf 3 to gather more light in the same amount of time and get better quality images. Next, we have a much better sensor, the Sony IMX678 Starvis. This sensor has larger pixels and will allow us also to gather more light and have better signal-to-noise ratio in our images. Now let's continue with filters. Here we have a big change. We will have 3 internal filters. The Vis filter that will be used for daytime terrestrial photography. Basically this will be our older air cut option. And we have also the Astro filter that will let infrared light pass, and I understand compared with the old Dwarf 2, this will not affect the focusing of the stars and the sharpness of the image. And when doing astrophotography, we will leave this option with the Astro filter on. I know it can be a little bit confusing, but this basically is another special filter to be able to have more light sensitivity and obtain more signal in the same amount of time. And next we have the dual band filter that seems to have oxygen 3, H beta and H alpha wavelengths, and this will be your default light pollution filter that you'll mainly be using for nebula imaging. Now let's continue and see the format supports. We have also a new one, PNG. We had before only JPEG, TIFF and FITS, and now we have also the PNG format available. We have here another amazing new feature, the AI-powered noise reduction tool. This will be an automatic post-processing feature that will reduce noise from your astrophotography images captured with the Dwarf 3, especially live stacking. It will preserve celestial details, ensuring clarity and texture even when shooting in less than ideal conditions. So we have a very useful feature that will help you get awesome images directly from the app. Here we have an example without the automatic post-processing on a live stack and with the feature enabled. You see how it looks with the noise and how clear it is now. Dwarf 2 already had in a new update a contrast enhancement feature that didn't work so well because we have also an older and smaller sensor that will not perform so good, and also smaller aperture with the Dwarf 2. So here in this kind of features, the AI-powered noise reduction and automatic post-processing, I believe they will work much better on the Dwarf 3 Smart Telescope, and this is another reason to upgrade if you're already using the Dwarf 2. Now let's continue effortless astrophotography. One-click shooting. Dwarflab says that the Dwarf 3 will work much better with the app, with the software. The autofocus will work better, the calibration, and you'll be able to start imaging much faster without any problems. Let's scroll lower, and finally it's here. Easy GOTO in Atlas. The Sky Atlas map is now available and we'll be able to use it with the GOTO feature. I was waiting for a long time for this app while I was using the Dwarf II Smart Telescope, and finally it's here for the new Dwarf 3. But I think it will be available also for the old Dwarf 2 since we are using the same app. You can see here in the video, you can select an object from the map, you can scroll. So it's like using Stellarium or other astronomy apps. It will make things much faster, easier to find objects and also to see them on the map, to zoom in, and it will make easier to select one object or the other, especially if you are at the beginning. I think this is one of the most important features that we have in the new software upgrade. Besides the Sky Atlas, we have also another nice feature that is called recommended. Here we'll have recommended deep sky objects that will be the best deep sky objects that you can image that night, like I saw in other apps. Also have the options of favorites. There you can probably save your favorite deep sky objects that you want to image more often. Now let's go lower and see the next features. At Celestial Masterpieces we have the solar and lunar mode that was recently also available for the Dwarf 2 also to capture the solar eclipse. This will be available also for the Dwarf 3 Smart Telescope. And having 150 mm compared with the Dwarf 2, it will give the Dwarf 3 an advantage when capturing lunar and solar imaging. Now let's check the next feature, Astro Mosaic. This is an amazing feature to have, and especially useful if you want to image a large nebula that you won't be able to capture in a single frame. And this will allow you to plan an Astro Mosaic and fit in all the nebula in your image. This will allow us to capture even larger field of view with the Dwarf 3 Smart Telescope. We see here with the Veil Nebula, Western Veil Nebula on the right, Eastern Veil and Pickering Triangle, and this is an awesome new feature that will help a lot, especially with very large nebula regions. Here we have some new exciting features like the Astro Plan and Auto Capture. This is an essential feature for astrophotography to be able to automate your astrophotography plan or plans for the night. We can see an example here in this video. I believe we'll be able also to select the Dwarf 3 to shut down after. Schedule your astrophotography anytime and Dwarf 3 will handle the rest. No more nighttime hassles or tired eyes. Let's say you want to select one object and image for 2 hours or 3 and another object for 2 or 3 hours. You see, we have the option to add a new plan. So I believe all these features will be available for the Dwarf 3 Smart Telescope. Next, friendly and freely. Here we have an NFC connection, instant start with a touch. Just put your phone near the ring light of the Dwarf 3 and connect the Dwarf 3 instantly. Start your shooting right now. So it will make connection much faster and you'll be able to start imaging and do astrophotography faster than we could do before with the Dwarf 2 Smart Telescope. And IP54, resistant to dust, moisture and dew, ensuring optical performance in most climate conditions. So this is very useful to have protection, especially against moisture or water. Let's say it will start raining, then you still need to go and take the Dwarf 3 inside the house. Would be nice to have 100% waterproof and leave it on the heavy rain outside. Then you won't have to worry about anything, even if the weather app will tell you that it's raining. However, I think here with the software we could have some improvements, like another feature that will detect rain on the Dwarf 2 and it can shut it down and close it. And doing so, even if it will rain on it, it will be less chances to have problems. Bird watching and panorama. We have the auto capture and tracking. This is the new feature that is available also for the Dwarf II Smart Telescope and probably will work better in the Dwarf 3 since it has better computing power. The Dwarf 3 will identify, capture and track your target, also having the auto capture available. This means you can just leave the Dwarf 3 somewhere, and if a bird will go in the field of view of the Dwarf 3 telescope, it will start automatically a 4K video capture. It will work also with the Dwarf 2, but I believe it will work better with the new Dwarf 3 Smart Telescope. Now let's see Gigapixel Panorama. Here with the Panorama we had problems with the Dwarf 2. On the part of software were some stitching problems. We had to use to make the Panorama in other software. Let's see with the new app. Says now that the Dwarf 3 AI power stitching blend the scenery for breathtaking panoramas. And with the new focal length of the Dwarf 3, 150 instead of 100, we have even better details in our panoramas. I've already made a detailed video comparison with the specs, you can check also that video out, but we'll go briefly also here. Dwarf 3 has an aperture diameter of 35 mm compared with 24 on the Dwarf 2, so we have a larger aperture. Focal length, Dwarf 3 has 150 mm and the Dwarf 2 has only 100 mm for the telephoto lens. The wide field lenses, they have about the same focal length. We have equivalent focal length with a full frame camera, and it refers for the field of view. Dwarf 3 it is similar with a 737 mm focal length and Dwarf 2 675 mm. At sensor we have a larger and newer sensor for the Dwarf 3, the IMX678. Built-in filters we have for the Dwarf 2 vis, tele and wide, this is the air cut, and air pass for the telephoto, and the Dwarf 3 has the 3 internal filters that I mentioned before, vis for telephoto, Astro, that is the air pass for telephoto and wide field lens, and dual band only for the telephoto lens. However, the Dwarf 3 will be able to use also the wide field lens to do some Milky Way astrophotography. So I heard, and I do hope I'll get the Dwarf 3 this summer and I will be able to test it also on the Milky Way. And we have also the external filters, the solar filters with a different adapter for the Dwarf 3. Battery, we have the Dwarf 3 has a built-in 10,000 mAh battery with external USB charging support, and Dwarf 2 has a smaller 5600 mAh battery that is replaceable. Storage, we have an 128 GB memory included for the Dwarf 3, and we have 64 micro SD card to 512 GB max supported for the Dwarf 2. So here the Dwarf 2, it has the possibility to add more storage. However, I do believe the 128 GB should be more than enough. Now, shooting modes on the Dwarf 3 will all be available for telephoto and wide field lens. It says here photo, video, astro, pano, burst, time-lapse. And for Dwarf 2, photo for telephoto and wide field lens, video telephoto, astro telephoto, pano telephoto, burst telephoto, time-lapse telephoto. So most of the functions on the Dwarf 2 are available for the telephoto lens. However, on the Dwarf 3 will be available also for the wide field lens. We have a much better processor for the Dwarf 3, NPU 5 stops, 2 stops Dwarf 2. The Dwarf 3 Smart Telescope processor will handle better AI-specific processing task. We'll have the same resolution for the telephoto image, 4K. Now let's go to video. Televideo we have 4K at 30 frames per second and Full HD at 60 frames. The Dwarf 2 has 4K 26 frames per second and Full HD the same as the Dwarf 3. Telephoto picture 4K, the same with the Dwarf 2. Wide angle video we have for the Dwarf 3 Full HD, and I don't think it's available for Dwarf 2. The same with wide angle picture Full HD. Maximum exposure time And here is a big improvement. We have the option to go up to 60 seconds exposure time with the Dwarf 3 and only 15 seconds with the Dwarf 2. It also mentioned that 60 seconds will work fine in equatorial mode aligned to Polaris. So having this option to get longer exposures will give also a big improvement, because we will be able to collect more light, more photons, and get a better image with better signal to noise ratio. Other functions that Dwarf 3 has and Dwarf 2 doesn't is the NVC one-touch connection, Astro Mosaic, and wide-angle astrophotography. Now, regarding size, it's about the same, a little bit larger on the Dwarf 3, and weight 1.2 kilograms on Dwarf 2 and 1.3 kilograms on the Dwarf 3. And let's see what's in the box. We have the Dwarf 3 Smart Telescope, carrying bag, magnetic solar filters, a pouch for solar filters, USB cable, and clothes. I do not see the tripod. I believe it should be here in the carrying bag. I will update you with more information after I will ask Dwarflab about it. Where is the mini tripod? So I'm really surprised to see that Dwarf 3 managed to get the price low on the Dwarf 3, similar with the Dwarf 2, having a much better telescope. Now, regarding the subject from the beginning of the video, should you upgrade to the Dwarf 3 if you have a Dwarf 2? I believe definitely it's worth upgrading, because you'll have a much better unit and you can still sell the Dwarf 2 cheaper and pay a little bit difference and get the new Dwarf. But please let me know in the comments below what you think, if you already have a Dwarf 2, if you'll upgrade or not. And if you decide to buy the Dwarf 2 Smart Telescope, don't forget to check also the affiliate links in the description. And if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss my review and testing on the Dwarf 3 Smart Telescope. Check also the channel membership, because if you become a channel member, you'll be able to download my data and will share also data that I will capture with the new Dwarf 3 Smart Telescope. Thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, clear sky.